It's religious. It's Muslim. Sure, most of the Muslims are Arabs or Pakistanis, you know, doing this, but not always. We got a lot of black Americans converting to Islam. What do? They go blow stuff up. Black Nigerians. We got white Americans converted to Islam. What do? They go blow stuff up, kill people. Go to Afghanistan and try to kill Americans. Go to Iraq, try to kill Americans. It's not racial. You know, people say, oh, you're a racist. I'm not a racist. I'm prejudiced, absolutely. Everybody's prejudiced. When I hear Muslim, I believe this is someone who believes in Allah, believes that Muhammad is his prophet, believes that, you know, you've got to pray 5 times a day, you got to do this, that, and the other thing, and if you fight and commit jihad in the name of Allah, you're going to have 72 virgins. That's prejudice, okay, but it's not racism. It's a religion that we're dealing with. Anyways, the senator elaborated, if you're looking at people getting on an airplane and you have X amount of resources to get into it, you get at the targets and not my wife. And I just think it's something that should be looked into. Well, what a simple statement for people to get so upset about. And it goes on to say, Inhofe told the Senate's panel that when you hear that not all Middle Easterners or Muslims between the age of 20 and 35 are terrorists, but all terrorists are Muslims or Middle Easterners between the age of 20 and 35, that's by and large true. By painting all Muslims and Middle Easterners as suspects, Senator Inhofe does a disservice to our nation and to its tradition of racial and religious diversity, CARE said. CARE representatives such as the Communications Director, Ibrahim Hooper, as our friend Robert Spencer affectionately calls him Honest Abe. Ibrahim Hooper and Government Affairs Director Corey Saylor have been guests on several cable news shows since the Christmas Day attack in Detroit to challenge calls for using Islam as a factor in profiling at airports. After all, basically 100% of terrorist activities on this soil are Muslim. Why in the world would you profile against Muslims? I just can't imagine. Last month, CARE wrote a letter to President Obama. I'm surprised they didn't invite him over for lunch, urging him to address what it called an alarming level of anti-Islam hate in our nation. Well, I wouldn't be surprised if they got my name on there. And it says, as WND reported, an announcement of the letter cited the impact of the WND book's expose, once again, Muslim Mafia, as an example of hate. The group said its annual national report on the status of American Muslim civil rights released in December showed an increase in bias-related incidents in 2008. This is actually a lie, because we find that the FBI data actually has shown that the number of incidents, anti-Muslim incidents in the United States of America, has been dramatically shrinking since 2001. The 2006 total of incidents against Muslims, supposedly for bias, was 156, was a 68% drop from 2001. Moreover, incidents against Muslims were just a fraction of overall hate crimes. In 2006, 66% of religiously motivated attacks targeted, guess who? The Jews, while just 11% were against Muslims, even though the Jewish and Muslim populations in America are similar in size. I tell you what, I don't know what's going on, but this is the very kind of junk that Mr. President Barack Hussein Obama will buy into. You know, and here's some more things that expose the troubles that we have, the dissolution of the Union of the United States of America. You know, look what's happening, this next article. Making license plates and terrorists. It should come as no surprise that up to 36, that's 36 American Islamists revealed this week to have skipped off to terror training camps in Yemen were radicalized. That is, they became good Muslims, essentially, but they were radicalized where? In the United States prisons. Can you believe it?
Yeah.
We're paying. American taxpayers are paying to make Muslims, to make good Muslims who are willing to go kill other Americans in the name of Allah and Muhammad and jihad. It says here, according to the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, intelligence indicates that some 36 Americans who converted to Islam in prison. These are converts. These aren't Arabs. This isn't a social thing. This isn't an ethnic thing. This is a Muslim thing. 36 Americans who converted to Islam in prison have departed for the Al-Qaeda hotbed, that is to say Yemen, in the past year, claiming they want to study Arabic. Well, I tell you what, Americans, you see a black man in America, all of a sudden convert to Islam, says he wants to go to Yemen, Afghanistan, Pakistan, and learn Arabic, beware. He's not a linguist. He doesn't have a love for literary works in Arabic. He's not going to learn Arabic so much. Yeah, he'll learn how to recite the Quran. He's going to learn something else. And it says intelligence officials told the committee that they lost track of some of the men who they believe have slipped away to Al-Qaeda training camps. Umar Abdul Jalil, there is a big problem, the report says, because of the potential threat from extremists carrying American passports. You see, they don't have to get foreigners to come and do the act. They'll just take black men or whoever else, white men, in American prisons. They'll tell them how Christianity is a lie and how Islam is the true religion. They'll offer them all kind of stuff and lies, and then they'll send them overseas, radicalize them. They've got American passports. They'll come back and commit terror and go completely undetected. What's especially outrageous is that, oh, by the way, indeed, it says, I'm sorry, there's a big problem. It says that because of the potential threats from extremists carrying American passports and the related challenges involving and detecting and stopping homegrown operatives. Indeed, such study abroad programs for homegrown jihadists seem to be all the rage these days. Last month, 5 Muslim students from Virginia were arrested in Pakistan as they tried to rendezvous with Al-Qaeda. And it just keeps on more and more and more. In France, remember now, Muslims are moderate, peace-loving people. And in France, this Nicolas Sarkozy, I don't know whether he's a good man, a bad man. The Muslims hate him, I think, because he's trying to be hard on Islam. Anyways, he has been saying that there shouldn't be any burqas allowed, no hijab, right? Well, apparently, I haven't followed it completely, but apparently now he's talking about just the nikbah, the face scarf. To outlaw the face scarf, right, in France for Muslim women. Well, the Muslims aren't too happy about that. But there is an imam in France who is considered a more moderate imam who agreed with him. Let me read this a little bit. But guess what happens? Yeah. What did the Muslims do? Did they say, you know, he's right. Oh, he's a model of love and peace and pluralistic Islam that's just reaching out to Europe? And no, they attacked him in his mosque. Muhammad mandated that women cover everything but the face and hands, not cover her face with a sack. And so a good case can actually be made on the grounds of the Quran and Sunnah that a burqa is un-Islamic. Nonetheless, this liberal imam has received death threats. Why? From other Muslims for backing the French burqa ban. Charles Gahoumi, at 36, one of the younger and certainly one of the more liberal imams in France, told Le Parisien last week that he supported a legal ban of the burqa, which had no place in France, a country where women had been voting since 1945. The imam, whose mosque is in Drancy, a northeastern suburb of Paris, also criticized those Muslims who advocated the wearing of the burqa, saying they belong to a tiny minority tradition reflecting an ideology that undermines the Muslim religion. The burqa is a prison for women, a tool of sexist domination and Islamist indoctrination. This is a Muslim imam in Paris. Now, you would have thought, according to all of the junk that we hear from CARE and these other Muslim groups in America, that Muslims would have said, oh, he's right, and so many Muslims would have come to his side and said, you know, that's wonderful. He's standing up for what true Islam's all about, equality of the sexes. But guess what happens? Shalagumi's comments were designed to provoke discussion among Muslim community, so forth and so on, and interfaith. But then guess what happens? After he made these statements, it says he was chairing a meeting of the Conference of Imams, a body established in 2009 to promote better relations between France's different faiths, when a mob of 80 Muslim men forced their way into the building. There was a brief scuffle between the two groups, ending in a handful of invaders grabbing the microphone. And what did they do? They started to cry, Allah Akbar, God is great, recounted Shalagoumi. Then they insulted me and my mosque, the Jewish community in the French Republic. They left after an hour and a half. According to the member of the Conference of Imams, the mob condemned Shalagoumi as an apostate and threatened him with liquidation. Liquidation. This imam is what? Of the Jews. Of the Jews. Anyways, it says, but far from cowering Shalagoumi into silence, the attack has only strengthened his resolve to confront the extremist element in the French community. Now, you would think that maybe at least his own members of his mosque would support him, but listen to this. Fouad Alaoui, president of the Union des Organisations Islamiques de France, says he wasn't surprised at the incident. We've warned him several times to moderate his words.